You're listening to the UAE's #1 talk radio station.
This is the Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye on One.
With Richard Dean, Brandy Scott and Tom Urquhart.
Yes, Brandy said it is Fed interest rate day today. Crossing live now to the United States, Keith Fitz-Gerald is principal of the Fitz-Gerald Group. He joins us now live from the west coast of the United States, just north of Seattle. Morning, Keith.
Hello there, and thank you for having me. It's an honor.
It's great to have you. Thank you, sir, for staying up late to speak with us. So what are you expecting today? 50 basis points, maybe 75 basis points?
You know, it's a very, very tough call because the Fed is literally between a rock and a hard place. They can't win if it's 25 points, and they can't win if it's 100 basis points. I think that there's a lot of rhetoric surrounding this number, and frankly, I'm going to be more interested in what the numbers do to react to it than I am in the number itself.
So how does it feel in the United States at the moment? I've been following you on Twitter and your newsletters, and you say whether it's a recession or not technically doesn't really matter. What the CPI inflation print doesn't really matter. It feels like prices are going through the roof at the moment. Tell us how it feels in North America right now.
You know, that's actually the ironic and the frustrating part. The level of frustration, disappointment, sadness, anger, I mean, you name the emotion, it is running high. And just under the surface, people have had it. They know that this could have been avoided. And they unfortunately have no sense of a way out. So the average American is feeling their wallet pinched. Inflation has gone crazy. Gasoline has more than doubled under the current presidential administration. The Fed, again, has played a direct role in this, but has never satisfactorily explained that to the American people.
So, and I was reading that, was it last week, you and your wife did a 300-mile round trip on your motorbikes to get a burger, which you say was a fantastic burger. What did it cost per gallon to fill up your bikes?
We are somewhere in the low $6 range, which, of course, compared to Europe, to Japan, still seems like a drop in the bucket. But the problem is, when President Biden took office, it was $2.38 a gallon. So to be paying over $6 right now is impacting anybody who drives anything that's remotely gasoline powered.
So we're talking about the Fed tonight. That's monetary policy, but in terms of fiscal policy and other policies, of course, it's the White House and the Biden administration. Is there anything they could have done differently that would have prevented gasoline prices from doubling under his watch?
Well, of course, that's the subject of great political, expertise. I don't do politics. I do money. And so if we look back to the Fed, this is why the Fed is in such a pickle, so to speak. The Fed has got to get money out of this system. They waited too long. The transitory call is going to go down as one of the single worst economic mistakes in recorded history. People are going to be studying this for generations with regard to what happened and what could have been done to prevent it. It didn't have to be this way. With regard to the president specifically, I personally believe that he could open American production. He could bring American production back online, work on supply chains, get those bottlenecks solved. It wouldn't eliminate inflation, to be frank, but it would go a long way to assuaging the American sense of angst.
Because we know that President Biden, as a Democrat, campaigned on a ticket of being not anti-fracking, that's too simplistic, but while the Republican administration was very much pro the energy industry, the Democratic administrations tend to be a little bit more reticent about that. Is there a case to be made that this Democrat administration over the past 18 months has been partly responsible for reducing US oil output?
Well, there are those who would say there's no case, and there's those who would say it was a strong case. I'm somewhere in the middle. Again, I don't have the luxury of taking sides in my capacity as an investment strategist. What I know for a fact is that President Biden, at the stroke of a pen, took 25% of American oil production out of circulation. That contributed significantly to the situation that we are experiencing today. So again, whether it's political or not, I'll leave that to the experts. I've got to stick with the money. I've got to stick with charting a path through this. That's what our clients depend on. I think we're going to have the Fed do what it can do tomorrow, but frankly, I don't know that it's going to do a lot of good.
Well, and this is because my kind of thesis, Keith, is that, and I'm giving the Fed a bit of a pass on this. This is a supply crunch-led inflationary problem that we've got around the world. You could raise interest rates 3% tomorrow. It's not going to get any more corn out of Ukraine. It's not going to get any more oil out of Russia.
Exactly. I have been saying that till I'm blue in the face, and I've been a lone wolf in the wilderness for a long time. The Fed could raise rates. We have an expression here in the United States, you probably know. The Fed could raise rates until the cows come home, and it wouldn't do a darn thing to impact inflation and what people are feeling in their wallets, because that is largely a supply chain issue. And it doesn't matter whether you're talking about toys, food, medicine, education, supplies, basic things that people need. Until supply chain gets fixed, inflation rate really doesn't matter.
Okay, let's talk about where we put our money then. What do we do in these times? Stock markets have fallen very sharply over the past few weeks or so. And you say the trick is to buy companies that are doing really, really well, generating revenue and generating profits. So where do we put our money?
Well, that's really the trick, right? Everybody wants to chase the hot money. But at times like this, what you want to do is chase the money you know is going to be there. So a company like Apple, for example, is going to be there in 5 years, and it's going to change the world. It's got consumer pricing power, and it's got margin protection. People are giving up all kinds of things. They're giving up their fancy Pelotons. They're giving up their Netflix. They're giving up all the companies that are nice to have. But I haven't seen one person yet giving up their iPhone or their Droid or their smartphone. So you've got to stick right now with stuff that is going to be there. Right now, that's obviously energy. Unless there's a presidential policy reversal, that's going to be important. It's the must-haves that are going to get you through it. The medicine companies, the companies making vaccines, the steady eddies, producing food, cleaning supplies. That's the stuff that's going to get purchased because people have to have it. If you're talking nice-to-have stuff, go to a garage sale, you'll be able to pick up a Peloton real cheap.
Really? Because you say, think Apple, not Peloton. Think CrowdStrike, not Netflix. What's your theory on Netflix at the moment? Because it's gone from, what, almost 700 bucks a share when Squid Game was out at Halloween last year to 170 or so today.
Well, people laughed in my face when I said Netflix is a one-trick pony and it's something to be avoided, but they're not laughing now. The company is a pig with lipstick. It's got a challenge. It's got lots of competition. It's spending money hand over fist, and it's acknowledging for the first time that it cannot control the access. It's not gaining the new subscribers that it needs. So, yeah, it's got great shows. Yeah, it's popular to watch, but cracking down on all that means it's not going to have the margin protection capacity that some other choice, like an Apple, would, for example, or a CrowdStrike, for example, which is network security, absolutely cybersecurity. That's not going away. But, you know, you've got Hulu Plus, you got Disney, you got all kinds of other things that are going to compete with Netflix. I still won't touch it.
Keith, it's great talking to you. Appreciate you staying up late to speak to us this evening from the west coast of the United States. It's a busy day for you. We'll let you get some sleep ahead of that Federal Reserve decision. That's Keith Fitz-Gerald, principal of the Fitz-Gerald Group. What do you make of that, Brandy Scott, his comments? The Fed could raise rates until the cows come home. It's still not going to tame inflation.
Forget his comments. I think we're going to insist that every single one of our guests has a branded background from now on.
He's very good, isn't he? I do follow him on social media, and he's the bee's knees, Keith Fitz-Gerald. Buy Apple, not Netflix. I'm not sure we're going to repeat his metaphor about Netflix, but that's fine.
We'll go with the one-trick pony. How's that?
We'll go with the one-trick pony, exactly. Coming up in the next half an hour.
Hi, it's Keith here. Thanks for checking out today's highlight clip. What'd you think? Did I make sense? Is there something you'd like to add? Make sure you leave a comment down below, and of course, click subscribe to keep up right here on YouTube, or sign up for the email newsletter at the link below. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram for my real-time thoughts on markets, analysis, and a whole lot more.